And we now welcome another Lions alum, Marco Iannuzzi, via video chat. And I'm guessing he's in Vancouver. Marco, good morning. Where do we find you today?
Good morning. Yes, I'm in White Rock, BC, down bottom of Vancouver.
You know, that Lions alum is a lot of eclectic, electric personalities. Do you go to any of those meetings with Lions alum? What are they like?
We just had our Lions golf tournament here yesterday actually, and it's a solid crew of guys. And I don't know if eclectic. I mean, we get together and we talk about what's going on, and I guess everyone's just a no BS type of people. And David is probably one of the more exotic of the bunch.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very nice way of terming it. So, Marco, let's just jump right into it. Your name's in the news with potential ownership change of the BC Lions. What can you tell our viewers and CFL fans this morning about where things are at, maybe with the sale of the BC Lions and your involvement?
Well, we've been working on it for 5 years, and I say we. I mean, I'm just a small cog in the wheel, a small wheel in the cogs as far as the potential prospective owners. There's about a half dozen that I'm pretty close with, so I've been sort of in tune with this thing even when I was playing. Obviously, you guys saw the article from Ed Willis there, and Mark Woodall and Maury Keith came out together as their plan to do the 100-person limited partnership. I think that would be a great way to sort of kick things off for the next wave post David Braley. I think that the fans are very grateful for everything David Braley did to this league, and basically kept the league alive. Well, not basically, he did keep the league alive. So I think that the best way for the fans to reciprocate their gratefulness and their appreciation is to be part owners and sort of carry this flag, carry the torch moving forward. So I'm all for that deal. I know there's a couple other deals on the table too, and all of them are very creative. It's really in the hands of David Braley right now, and as we all know, he loves this team, he loves this league so much. It's just a very tough thing for him to pass on.
We all know Ed very well, Hall of Fame writer following the Lions from the Vancouver province. He wouldn't have written it if there was something to it. So, are you close to anything, Marco? Do you anticipate the sale going through, or have you just gone public with your intent right now?
So we've been close in our minds for 5 years. It's a little bit like Groundhog Day. I know that a lot of these meetings, whether it's Maury Keith or Mark Woodall, or some of these other parties who've asked that they remain unnamed for the time being, but they've all sort of had the same reports, and it's that their meeting went well. They talked about this, and this, and it was almost the same agenda that they talked about the previous meeting. And they're at a point where it's truly in David's hands. And obviously his state is changing. His physical health is changing. So I think that's maybe pressing him a little more at this phase of the game. But I wish I could give you a definitive answer, but truly, the key holder here is David Braley. So any speculation I would give you right now, all I could tell you is that there's multiple deals on the table with multiple. This is not a dollars and cents thing. It's 100% not a dollars and cents thing. David Braley is obviously multi-billionaire, but it's about his love, and he just wants to make sure that the person he passes it on to is first and foremost a true steward of the team, a true steward of the league. I know for a fact that of the 6 prospective buyers, they are all community-based guys. They are all men and women that really care about this team and realize that this is not a money-making venture. This is a community-building venture.
When you talk about that, Marco, I'm interested. I've liked some of the things that the Lions have been doing here in the last, for sure this season, marketing-wise. But what would it mean to have local ownership and that community-based ownership? What do you think? How do you think that could change the game? For putting more butts in the seats out there at BC Place.
Well, I just think this: if you look, David Braley's been living in Hamilton, so I think just having the owner here, physically on the sidelines, physically up in the box during the games. And having 100 owners. So if you had 100 owners, and let's say they were all business savvy people. They'd connect with, let's say, 20 of their biggest clients or partners in their respective industry. And now all of a sudden you've got more suites sold, you've got more butts in seats, you've got new people coming to the table with new ideas. Maybe they're running promos, they're running ads through their individual networks, more of a grassroots type thing. I just really think that when you have this many people, let's say you had even 20 owners in the area, this many people who care about what they're doing on a Friday night, what they're doing on a Saturday night, how they're going to treat their maybe their employees, how they're going to treat someone as a guest in town. I just think that having sort of I don't want to say good old boys. I want to say good old boys and girls club of close people who care about this team, who care about this league, who want to spend time with their family on the weekends. I just think there's so much positivity that the people who are showing up to the games now, they all realize it. They're multiple year season ticket holders, and they realize how fun of an experience it is to go 9 times a year to one location at BC Place, to see their friends at BC Place, the people that sit around them. I just think we need to get these 20-year-olds, these 30-year-olds to realize how exciting it is, to realize how fun it is. And to be honest with you, it'll make everyone have a better time, because once that stadium's rocking with 35,000 people, those were the best games I ever played there, because I'm getting goosebumps right now as I tell you about it. It makes the whole the atmosphere just unreal. And I just think that once we get more exposure to it, and these community-based business people will allow for more exposure, you'll have more butts in the seats. You'll have a better overall feel. And guess what? The players will feel better, and the players will play better when they realize that they got a rocking stadium for them.
Marshall Hamilton here. First of all, let me comment. I love your screensaver or whatever that backdrop for your desktop. That's just wonderful. But my question is, for the first 5 minutes that you were talking group, and I'm thinking 100 owners, and who would be some of those 100 owners. And then you said, when you were talking about David Braley, the person he hands it off to. So is there any sense that David Braley would prefer to hand it off to a individual? Does he have any reservations about handing it off to a group of individuals?
Mm-hmm. Well, so we've tried, for 5 years, we've tried, one person. We've tried one of, let's say there was 11 people on the sheet at one time. I was quite close with about 6 of them. They've tried to go in there as a one person and show that they care and show that their pockets are deep enough too, right? Obviously, the reason David saved this league is because he took losses many years over the 25 years. He took losses, and the person who takes over has to have deep pockets and realize this is not a venture for capitalism. This is not your best investment. There's a ton of other better return investments out there. This is a community-based, this is a love-based thing. That said, I believe that David Braley is quite interested in at least having a point man or two that represent this limited partnership group. So whether that's 3 or 4 people who represent 51%, and then the rest that represent 49%, that's a potential. I think that David might be a little concerned. This is my personal opinion, that he might be a little concerned with too many chefs in the kitchen. So I think, if you're doing a limited partnership, making sure that you do have a few lead partners to sort of have the vote and have more of a calling of the shots. I think that's maybe one way you remedy it. But I'll say that if I mention the words the individual owner, it's just because over the last 5 years, that's the way we've been approaching it. Over the last 18 months, we sort of cooked this idea, Mark Woodall leading it, of course, and sort of spearheading it, and with Maury as far as putting this limited partnership together. That being said, I really it's all in David's hands. And the last time I spoke to him was when I interviewed to be president, immediately after retiring as a player. We had a 3-hour meeting and a couple of follow-up phone meetings as well. And his mindset then was no more telling than what it is now. So it's just very tough. It's all in his hands. I know that he's been meeting with Randy Ambrosi from the commissioner of the league. I know that he's met with multiple prospective buyers, some of them in private, some of them reporting back what's happened. So there's a lot of moving wheels right now, and it's truly, truly in his court.
Well, Marco, that's a great explanation. We appreciate the update, and good luck with it. We're following it closely, and hopefully it comes to the conclusion that's best for everybody. I know that it will. But thanks for spending some time with us today.
It's my pleasure, and I think everyone in this province can say that we just love this team. We love what it's done for the community, and we just want the next generation to be just as excited as we've all felt over these past few decades.
I can feel it. All right. Good luck, Marco.
Take care.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.